So, New York Real Estate Expo, Nick Tang does an awesome job. Does about 4 of these a year. Always a lot of people. Got about 500 or 600 people run through here. They have different rooms that break out on all kinds of different topics. If you're into real estate, you want to meet people, you want to learn, do it. All right, who here owns rental properties? Who here really wants to own rental properties? Everyone's hand should be up here. All right, so how to make millions with Section 8. I'm gonna give you guys a little breakdown of who I am. Who am I? Right, so here are all my social media handles. I create an absolute insane, probably too much worth of content. I will haunt your dreams. That's my camera guy, Levy. We are glued at the hip. However you like to consume content, I am there. I also have a text platform. If you guys have any questions about anything, it is direct to me. You can hit me up. My name is Charles Weinraub. In the real estate world, I am known as the handsome home buyer. I am Long Island's #1 fix and flip investor in the sense that I flip more houses than anybody on Long Island. Gut renovation, not wholesaling, the real deal. 70 to 110 houses a year. The goal for this year is 200. I also do commercial development. I'm building an assisted living facility. I do retail. I buy notes. I do everything in the real estate space. I'm 42 years old. I've been doing this 6 years, and after 5 years, Section 8 had made me a multi-millionaire, and I never have to work again. How many people would be really excited if I taught you something that in 5 years you don't have to ever work again? That's what I'm talking about. Get some more people in this room. Let's get this shit fired up. Let's get this going, okay? Everybody should be following me. If you're not, I'm offended, all right? So I'm gonna run through basically everything about Section 8. We're gonna dig kind of deep in the 40 minutes that we have. You guys can ask me any questions you want about anything real estate related. I'm gonna do an example of a real deal that I did. Not a bullshit fictitious, yeah, you can do this. No, this is the real deal on Long Island in a place called Mastic that everybody can relate to because everybody knows Long Island if you know Long Island, all right? So, single family Section 8 is the best performing rentals in existence. Real talk. So in Carl We Trust, I have a mentor named Carl Chavone. I trained with him for 4 years before I ever did anything in the real estate industry. He said, Charles, single family rentals will make you more money than anything in existence. And I'm like, Carl, I'm gonna be a sexy multifamily value add guy. That's what I'm gonna do. He's like, no. Of course, Carl was right about that and everything, all right? Everything you think you know about Section 8 is probably wrong. How many people think that Section 8 tenants are gonna trash your place, right? They don't pay, it's a freaking nightmare. Absolutely not the case, and I'm gonna explain to you why, okay? The average Section 8 tenant stays for 11 and a half years. Think about that for a second. The average cash tenant stays for 2. So if you're getting more money than me with your cash tenants, but you keep turning over every 2 years and you keep having to paint and fix shit, and then your unit is vacant for 2 months, you're not making more money than me and you have way more aggravation. The government is not paying you, okay? It's 5 years on average to obtain a voucher. People that are on Section 8 are not likely to trash your place and mess everything up because they've waited, at this point, 5 to 10 years now to get a voucher. If anybody here was getting free rent and free heat and food stamps and all this stuff, would you trash the place that you were living in just to do it? No, no hands, right? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't happen. Listen, there's bad apples everywhere. But in general, Section 8 is the most gangster thing you can do, in my opinion. Gangster in the money-making way, not gangster in the... I'm from Wantaw. There's no gangster in me. Caseworkers act as advocates for both the tenants and the landlords. So if I have a problem with a tenant, let's say, I can contact the tenant's caseworker. And the caseworker is going to call the tenant and be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? And they actually really advocate for you. They don't throw their hands up and say, we don't care. They do. They remind the tenant, hey, listen, this is the lease. Not to mention, in a lot of the programs, which I'll explain in a little bit, you have a lease with the government. You don't have a lease with the tenant. You shouldn't have a lease with the tenant based on the programs, which we're going to explain in a minute, okay? Tenants cannot move without making the current landlord whole. Let's say your tenant pays, there's a $2,000 a month rent, the tenant pays $500, the government pays the rest, right? Tenant hasn't paid you in 3 months. You want the tenant out, you're going to evict them, whatever. Tenant's going to leave. Even if you're evicting them, regardless of the scenario, the tenant cannot be put in a new unit until they make you whole. The government will not allow that. And they only have 6 months to get put in a unit or their voucher expires and they lose it. So you are going to get your money, most likely, high 90% time, because people are not gonna blow vouchers for no reason. It just doesn't make sense, okay? The government isn't running out of money. We hope. They printed enough of it. Sir?
Circling back to the average tenant thing.
Do me a favor, let's keep the questions to the end because I just want to make sure I get all through it, and I'll answer anything you guys want either here or outside. Cool? All right. How'd I do during COVID? I got paid every month. Even if certain tenants fell behind on their portion, there was ERAP, there was other things, and they're going to pay me or they can't leave. So either way, I got paid. 85% of my over 100 rental property portfolio is Section 8 or some kind of government subsidy, okay? Some of the richest people in the world did it through Section 8 and LIHTC, low income housing tax credit deals. Related company, everybody heard of Related Company? That's how that guy got rich. In the 80s, when New York City was a mess, they were giving away properties for $1, doing these low-income housing tax credit type deals. That's how he made it. Types of programs, all right? I'm gonna give you like the real rough, rugged, and raw in here about what you wanna deal with, how they work and how they don't. Section 8. Section 8 is not an all-encompassing thing. Section 8 is a individual program, right? They have, if you're from Long Island, they have Town of Hempstead Section 8, Town of Brookhaven Section 8, Town of Oyster Bay, the villages. Every municipality has its own Section 8, okay? These are great programs. You have a lease with Section 8 with the government. It's year to year. The government is responsible for paying you. The tenant pays up to 30% of their income, all right? CDC, Center Community Development Corp, not Center for Disease Control, okay? They have these all over. This is by far my favorite program. It's a not-for-profit agency that's funded by the government. They have very good caseworkers, very high-quality tenants. I love them. Again, you have a lease with CDC, all right? DSS, Department of Social Services, okay? I'm gonna be as PC about all this stuff while giving you guys the real as physically possible. DSS, this is my experience with DSS. You do not have a lease with DSS. You have a lease with the tenant, okay? So remember that. If there's an issue with payment, DSS is not helping you. You have to go to the tenant directly. My experience with DSS is DSS pays off of the number of people that they're putting in your house, not off the bedroom count. They don't bump rents every year the same way that CDC and Section 8 does. And a lot of times DSS is a limited time and they're trying to acclimate people back into society to get on their own, which is a great thing if it works. If it doesn't work, they're paying you less money every year. The tenant may or may not, in my experience, the one time I did it, did not have the money and I had to evict them. They trashed the place. That's the one time I ever had a trash place. Now, to DSS's credit, DSS showed up with a video camera within 10 days. I gave them a bill, they cut me a check. So DSS, thank you for that. But that's the difference. Silo, similar type of arrangement as DSS, only the silo vouchers can go forever, but you don't have a lease with silo. You have a lease with the tenant. You don't have the same caseworker help. You don't have the same support. You don't have it. Okay? Options for community living. Unbelievable organization. They have all different kinds of programs. They rent full multifamily buildings from me and put people in them and they manage them. They're very good. And there's a lot of different VA programs. There's a ton of great programs out there. All right? How much can I charge? Okay? Everybody write this down. The way government subsidized programs work is they work off of something called FMR, or fair market rent. FMR is set by HUD. It's national. However, it's broken down by the county. So if you go and you Google Suffolk County, Nassau County, Kings County, FMR, it's gonna come up and tell you exactly what you can charge for a studio all the way through a 5-bedroom unit, okay? On top of that, there is a utility grid. So every program has a utility grid. The utility grid tells you how much you have to deduct if the tenant is paying utilities based on the type of utilities you provide. Gas heat, electric heat, propane, etc. This is all stuff that's really important to know, all right? Can you charge the tenant more than FMR? No, you cannot legally charge a tenant on a Section 8 program more than what the contract price says. People do it, you're not supposed to do it. If you get caught, you're gonna have a problem, okay? Attend the landlord forums. Most Section 8 type programs, especially CDC, does it on Long Island, offer these once a month landlord forums where you can go in and you can speak to the heads of the organization and they're gonna tell you exactly how the program works and you can ask any questions you want. Very valuable thing, go do it. This way, you can underwrite your deals understanding how much you're gonna get, and more importantly, you can then renovate the properties to maximize your ROI, which we're gonna go over, based on the utility grid and getting the most money based on how the utilities work, okay? So design your rental to maximize your ROI, okay? These are certain things that I recommend that you do. Now, I have Section 8 and CDC and government-based, I have all kinds of rentals. I have multifamily apartment buildings, I have single families, I have everything, okay? Leave the basements unfinished. You don't want people sleeping, living, you don't want them sticking their friends down there. You don't want any of that. You want the basements to be unfinished. So you want to use electric baseboard heaters and hot water heaters. Why do you want to do that? First of all, right now, you get paid more money as a landlord on Long Island if you have electric heat. Electric heat is also extremely inexpensive to install. Before everything went ballistic with the prices, an electric baseboard heater is $100. If you have to go and get an oil boiler, and then run real baseboard around a house, and then hopefully they put oil in it, and hopefully they maintain it, or you have to maintain it, and if they don't put oil in it, the pipes burst, right? And it only has X amount of lifetime. If a electric baseboard breaks or something happens to it, $100, pop in, I send a handyman, it's done. It's easy. And I'm getting more money every month than if it was oil or gas in a lot of cases now, okay? Quartz countertops, you wanna get something that's indestructible, or as indestructible as possible. You wanna be able to beat it with a hammer and it's gonna be okay. You want oak or dark colored cabinets. So don't put white in there, don't do any of that stuff. These are rentals, hopefully people really, treat them the right way, but like white obviously gets really dirty. Nick Tang's running around in white pants. I'd like to see what those things look like by the end of the day. Use LifeProof flooring for the entire house. So LifeProof is a company that makes these vinyl floors that has a pad on the bottom already. They're waterproof. You can like beat them with a hammer, like nothing scratches these things. They have really nice finishings. You can get them out of Home Depot. Put them in the kitchens, put them in the entire house. Not in the bathrooms, but put them in the entire house. It's easy, it's inexpensive, and they last, okay? Tile on the bathroom floors. You put basic tile on the bathroom floors. Tubs with surrounds. Do not tile walls in tubs. Don't do it. There's grout, there's gonna be issues, you can have leaks, all that. You wanna put tub surrounds in. Tubs with high surrounds, the highest surrounds you could possibly get. All right, this way, there's little to no maintenance. You're designing these places to be built inexpensively, to last, and to have as little maintenance as humanly possible. What? No microwaves, no dishwashers. Why not? It's just another friggin' thing that's gonna break, that costs you money, that you either have to repair or change over time. People can wash dishes by hand. They've done it for many years. You don't need to do it. If they wanna get a microwave, let them buy a microwave and put it on the counter. That's on them, God bless. It goes when they go. No dishwashers. It's a pain in the ass. How to get quality tenants, right? We're really running through the gamut here as much as we can in the 40-minute time frame. So how do you get quality tenants? Obviously, this is a big one for people. Levy, mental note, we gotta make a video about how to get quality tenants. TikTok's gonna love this shit. Okay, how do you get quality tenants? Get a Millie. What is a Millie? Millie is my rental agent. I don't rent the properties. I have over 100 plus rental properties with multiple units in them. I cannot get involved with anything, period. I don't have time. So Millie is my rental agent who has this sixth sense of, she's bilingual, she has this sixth sense of knowing who is going to be a pain in the ass and who is not going to be. And she tenants everything. Amelia and I are so close that I don't even meet the tenants anymore. I have no idea. She makes the decisions and goes, and she has a very, very, very high success rate. Okay? Screen them as if they were cash tenants. Do the full background check, everything. Just because the government is paying you doesn't mean that you should not be screening these people like anybody else. You want the background checks, you want the credit checks, you want to know what's going on in their life, because once they're in there, especially in New York, especially for you guys in the boroughs, you try to evict somebody, it's like 30 years out. Okay? Make sure they work or have some kind of income. Okay, what do I mean by that? This is a personal preference. Sometimes people accidentally break things. So we have electric stoves in the house. They might drop a pot and shatter the top of the electric stove, right? If they are a 100% voucher tenant, they don't have any income. There's no disability checks, there's no nothing. They can't pay for it. You're gonna have to eat it just because they can't pay for it, even if they wanted to. So if you have a working Section 8 tenant, or if you have a tenant that has certain like checks coming in for disability or something like that, any kind of cash flow, this way if they mess something up, you have the ability, they have the ability to pay for it, is a positive thing. All right, so because a lot of people are like, I only want 100% voucher tenants. Don't shy away from tenants that have income or are working, because there's a lot of benefits associated with that, okay? Does credit matter? Do I care what my tenant's credit is? I don't. Really quick story. One of my really closest friends now, he rented my Long Beach apartment back when I lived in Long Beach and was subletting it. And he had like a 420 credit score, but he made $400,000 a year. He just went through a horrible divorce, and his basically wife destroyed his credit. Credit is just like one word in a sentence. You can look at it and see like what the issues are. For example, if there's child support payments, stuff like that, you want to look at that. But in general, don't judge a Section 8 tenant or even a regular tenant by credit all the time. Some people disagree with me. It's just my personal opinion. Go with your gut. Oh no, sorry. Do a full background credit check and background report. Do all of it, right? Whoever your rental agent is, they should have some kind of system that pulls everything on these people to see. You can charge them an application fee, whatever it is. Okay? Go with your gut. This is probably the biggest thing. In New York, right? Who here works in New York, wants to own rental properties in New York? In New York, there's no rentals around, period. Especially on Long Island, there is nothing. We have negative absorption. You can't fill them fast. You can't build them fast enough. Do not put somebody in there who you don't feel 100% right about because you just want to get somebody in the unit. It takes, wait. Remember, this person's going to be with you 11 and a half years. Wait the extra month or 2 months or whatever it is and put the right tenant in. And everyone's had that relationship, that guy or girl that they dated where they were kind of like, I don't know, but he or she's kind of cute, right? And the sex is wild, so let's do this, but there's a lot of red flags. Don't do it here, all right? Wait. There's another guy or girl around the corner. Sorry, Levy. You know, I couldn't do this without making some kind of sexual reference. It's like a creepy old Jewish man thing. The 3 times net rent rule. This has nothing to do with Section 8, but I'm going to throw it in there for people who say, Charles, I don't care what you're saying. I'm renting to cash tenants because I'm going to bury it and not pay the government, which I don't recommend. I have this rule called the 3 times net rent rule, which is if I'm renting a house in Mastic for $2,000 a month, your entire household has to net after taxes $6,000 a month or more, or I'm not renting to you. Okay? Now you might say, Charles, that's nuts. No one's paying $2,000 a month when they're making $100,000 a year. They'll go buy a house. I understand what you're saying, but people do it every day. I don't ask, I don't know, I don't care, but all I know is my properties get rented. So make sure these people have sufficient income because they have to pay all kinds of other stuff. You know, the cars, the this, the that, whatever, clothes, people spend money. People like to spend money on stuff they don't need. Make sure they have enough money to pay your rent, okay? Contact the 2 previous landlords. Don't really contact the landlord they just came from because that guy or girl's like, yeah, they're awesome. Get them out of my place fast. Contact the landlord before the place that they are right now. That person's more likely to tell you, horror show, don't do it, right? Speak with the caseworker and get feedback. The caseworkers are really cool. You build relationships with the caseworkers because you're doing volume with these people. They want you to stay on the program. All the caseworkers and everybody I've ever met at any of those organizations, regardless of who they were, are really nice people and they really want to help people. They want landlords to rent to people in the program. So if someone's a horror show, most likely they're gonna give you like the wink, wink, nod, nod, like don't rent to this person, they're a horror show, because they don't wanna ruin a relationship, all right? Management, okay? How do you manage these places effectively? Now you have to decide if you're gonna self-manage or if you're gonna hire somebody to manage it, right? But number one, quarterly inspections. We inspect these places every 3 months. I have a full-time handyman, hopefully soon, because I keep hiring people and they just keep not showing up. I have a full-time property manager and she goes out and inspects every single unit every 3 months. Are the tenants happy about it? No, they're annoyed. Do I care? No, I don't care. For 2 reasons. A, they know that I know that they know that I know that we're watching what's going on there. They also are more likely to take care of the place because of that, and they see that, hey, we respect your living situation, you should respect your living situation and respect my property, right? There's also a lot of tenants that feel bad calling you and telling you that something's broken, and they won't tell you, and if I go in there after 6 months, a little leak under a kitchen has just destroyed half a kitchen that I now have to replace. If I'm going in there every 3 months and checking, the odds of that happening are very, very slim. Okay? Self-manager, hire management company. You have to understand which one. But when you're underwriting your deals, you always have to account for a management fee, okay? So if you have a single family home, the average management company is charging 10%. If they're charging less, they're not doing anything for you, right? So make sure that when you're underwriting your deals, you have to factor that in because A, it's going to affect your funding, either on the purchase, refinance, value add side. Also, if you decide that when you keep buying rentals and you're not gonna manage them yourself, because that's not really the highest and best use of your time to manage your rentals on your own, you either have to hire someone, which there's an inherent cost to, where is that money coming from, or you have to hire a company. I got 20 minutes. So you have to make sure that's in there. Most importantly, the bank is going to underwrite the deal and they're gonna put a management fee in because if they foreclose on you, they are not going to manage your property, right? Have written house rules. When you move people in, have house rules written out. This is what's cool, this is what's not cool. I don't allow smoking, I don't allow pets, this, that, the other thing. Make them sign it, right? You can frame the house rules and put them in the house. Whatever you want to do, but make sure these people understand what their responsibility is. Because when you get a call saying, oh, the cesspool's backed up, be like, hey, listen, we delivered the cesspool like completely empty. You signed the house rules, you know what you have to do. Call the guy who's going to suck the cesspool out. There's no miscommunications here. It's there in writing. This is your signature, right? Make sure you do that. Provide a living environment you'd like to live in. Slumlord shit is not cool. It was never cool, ever. Make sure that you provide an environment for people to live in that you yourself would not live in. Has anybody heard, oh, Section 8's really tough on these inspections, right? Anybody ever heard that? Section 8 inspections. Listen, if you cannot pass a Section 8 inspection, you have no business renting a property to anybody. Anybody. Period. End of story. So make sure these places are nice. You're gonna get a better tenant. They're gonna take care of your place. They're gonna stay longer. Nobody likes living in chaos, all right? When I do my rentals, I fully gut renovate them 100% new. I buy the worst of the worst, shittiest places you've ever seen. You're gonna love checking it out on my Instagram or whatever every day. It's nuts, right? Fleas, dead animals, raccoon shit, garbage, you name it, it is horrible, right, Levy? How many times we got fleas? There's a good video of poor Levy stripping on the street outside of a house in Mastic because there's fleas all over him. The point is we gut renovate them for a couple different reasons. A, we don't want the maintenance. B, we want to maximize our refinance. C, there's a principle called the broken window theory. It's a psychological principle. Giuliano used it during the 80s to clean up New York. When New York was a disaster in the 80s, what was the first thing he did? The first thing he did, besides put more police on the street, was to clean the subways. That's what he did. He cleaned the subways. Why? Because when people are living in an environment that looks chaotic, they feel psychologically, yeah, you know that. No, we don't do that? It's a COVID thing? Elbow, whatever you want to give me. Just give me something. They think that it's okay to be chaotic, right? To act a certain way. When these rentals are pristine, it makes them know, like, hey, it's not okay, right? Answer all maintenance requests in a timely manner. If somebody is calling you saying, fix my sink, Don't wait 3 months to fix their sink. They're not going to call you again, and it's going to look like hell, and they're going to be pissed at you, and it's just going to be bad. All right? Raise the rent every year. Raise the rent every year. You feel bad? Don't. This is a business. Raise the freaking rent every year. Section 8 raises their rents primarily every year. Cost of living, 5, sometimes more. I had Section 8 bump a rent like 8% like a year or two ago, right? Raise the rent to market every year. Don't feel bad, little old lady, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm not a dick. Has nothing to do with it, but you have bills, taxes go up. I don't want to hear it. Raise the rent every single year, okay? This is a business. Tenants pay their own utilities. Try if you can to either buy places that are sub-metered, or if you can, sub-meter them during the renovation process, because it's going to save you a lot of money. Put the utilities on the tenants, take less money from the government, let them regulate it. If you pay the utilities, they will crank the heat to 85 degrees in the summer. They don't care. It does it while they're on vacation and the place is vacant. They don't care, right? Real talk. All right, so here's an equation. This is a real deal, and this is kind of high level. I didn't put the refinance piece in because I ran out of room on the slide, and I was doing this at 10 o'clock last night. So this is an example of a real deal that happens in a place called Mastic. I love Mastic more than anything in the whole world. Anybody know Mastic, Long Island? Shout out to Mastic. Yep. I own a lot of houses in Mastic. I would like to buy as many houses as I can so I can rename Mastic after myself, like Handsomeville or whatever. I haven't come up with the name yet, but that's the goal. Anyway, FMR in Nassau and Suffolk County, regardless of where you are, is the same. So you're not going to go to Syosset and buy a house for $1.5 million and rent a 3-bedroom to somebody, where you can buy a house in Mastic for $115,000. That's a 3-bedroom, and rent it for the same price. So I bought this house in Mastic for $115,000, and I'm going to tell you how you get deals in a minute, because everyone's like, yeah, Charles, that's all well and good, but $115,000 Mastic houses aren't falling out of the sky. You're 100% right. This deal happened like a year ago. I bought this house for $115,000. It was actually a pretty clean house. It was a relatively recent new construction. It was an inherited property. The family had to get rid of it. They did not live in the state. They saw my TV commercials or my marketing. If any of you guys have seen it, it's insane. I'm in a music video yesterday. On Valentine's Day, I was shirtless laying in a pool of garbage. Thank you, Levy. Right? That's why people call me. Real talk. Everyone thinks I'm joking. I'm not. I renovated it for $20,000. My closing costs when I bought it were $6,000. My closing costs when I refinanced it were $15,000. My total financing cost, because I financed $160,000 at 10% from a friend who lent it to me as a private investor, is $10,000. So my all-in on this particular property to get it ready, beautiful, like new, and be able to get rented was $166,000. I then rented it. So 3 bedrooms in Mastic at the time were rented for $2,350. So that's $28,200 was my gross rent. I had a 5% vacancy. That's actually high. I factor in for a 5% vacancy. Vacancy on Long Island is probably 3% right now, or 2% right now. So I have the deduction of $1,410. My effective gross income, which is the projected rent that I'm actually collecting, is $26,790. I have a management fee, a maintenance fee, a permit fee, taxes, and insurance gives me an NOI, or net operating income, of $15,295. I don't have the refinance piece here, but essentially the house appraised at $300,000. How many people would be upset if, and I basically wasn't paying any taxes on the cash flow after the refi because of depreciation, and I was in the deal for no money. As a matter of fact, I refinanced for $200,000 at 3.5% interest. So I have cash flow, I took money out, I have an infinite return. How many people would be pissed if they had a house that was making them money tax-free every single month, and they increased their net worth by almost twice what they put into it, and none of the money was their own? Everybody should be raising their hand right now. You guys are with me, right? I feel like this guy's talking in circles. All right, where to get the deals from? I don't have a deal tree in my backyard. Deals do not come from one place. There is no magical secret about how to get deals. You know what you have to do? You have to work hard, okay? There's a direct collaboration to the fact that I'm not married, don't have any kids, and work way too much, to the fact that I do a lot of real estate deals, okay? You don't have to do that. You don't have to be me. Hopefully you can have more of a balanced situation. I'm a maniac, okay? But here are just some of the things. Organic social media, paid social media, mails, cold calling, realtors. I know thousands of realtors. I want to know thousands more. Realtors are people that are running around essentially for free trying to bring you deals. If you like them, if you take care of them, if you make sure they make money, they will bring you that one house that stinks like cat piss that they get every single year, okay? Treat them well. Wholesalers are awesome. Everybody wants to be a wholesaler. You can go on YouTube and there's clips on how to be a wholesaler, right? God bless all of them. Know every wholesaler out there. Attorneys, TV, radio, referral programs, networking. When I quantify the 70, 80, 100, 110, 120, 200 this year or next year houses that we buy, I guarantee you that 75% of those houses are come from the network, the realtors, the wholesalers, the attorneys, the people who I have relationships with that I have fostered over time that will bring me deals forever because I treat them like gold. That's all I got. Does anybody have any questions? My man with the good hair in the back, you're up now. That's it, we're good? All right, cool. Your hair's fucking fantastic though, bro. I'm jealous. Really good shit. Young lady.
Do you do any Section 8 or have you done any Section 8 in New York? And if not?
New York, like the boroughs?
Yes.
I don't own rental properties in the boroughs.
Okay, why not?
It's just not my area. Like my network, I flip houses in the boroughs. In general, the properties in the boroughs are really expensive. So like the equation doesn't work. I was buying houses in Bellport, Long Island for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, putting $65,000 into them. They were appraising for $250,000 and the taxes were $3,000 a year and I was renting them for $2,300. It just, there's no comparison. Miss?
Section 8 rentals. I have a Section 8 tenant right now and she hasn't been paying her portion. Her portion is like $3.
Okay.
And I was just like, you could just pay her $36 for the year. But she keeps insisting on me like coming every month, and like sometimes she's just like complaining about different things, like, oh, this is dripping, even though it was fixed. So like, how do you handle those tenants and get your $36?
I have some tenants that pay like $7 a year, and they pay because we're always on. I'm like, hey, I need my $3. I need my $3. I need my $3. That's just a personality thing. Maybe you just have to sit down and have a conversation with them and just say, hey, listen, like, we're all on the same team here. I understand it's only $3, but like I have a lot of bills. I understand your situation. That's more of like a person-to-person management thing. There is a certain level of aggravation you have to deal with when dealing with people. Luckily, in your case, it's only for $3, so it's not terrible, but it kind of is what it is. I wish I had a better answer for you. Electroshock therapy, and she'll never mess with you again. Miss.
Under the quality tenant section,
Yeah.
where you said the 3x net rent rule.
Yeah, 3 times net rent rule.
How are people that qualify for Section 8 able to?
That has nothing to do with Section 8 program. That was a cash tenant piece that I threw in there. If you want to rent to somebody who's going to pay you cash, that's what I would. What problem with my mic?
No, just so I can get their question.
Oh, okay, cool. Miss?
What do you think of tenants who come with Section 8 and also come with HPD? Like the vouchers in the mail?
Yeah, that's the city. That's a little bit different than what I do on Long Island. In the city, it's a little bit different. They have Section 8 that's like attached to the property. They have HPD, HTC. It's different. That's where the low-income housing tax credit stuff comes into play. It's different. Miss, right there.
I know you say you use your real estate agent.
Yeah.
Do you interview your tenants as well?
Me?
You say use your gut.
No, I don't. She does.
She uses her.
I did at the beginning. I don't have time now.
You trust her to.
Exactly. Like I have trained her. We've developed a standard operating procedure that makes me feel comfortable enough that I can just say, you go with it. Miss?
Yes, when you said find the Millie is your property manager?
Millie is the rental agent. So yeah, Millie is my rental agent. Find your Millie. Sir?
So we've luckily found a Millie. He was great. He did everything nuts and bolts. He just calls you to sign. And they know the system inside and out. So when you find a good one, it's like, we're probably gonna know this guy forever.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to train them and build them, and it's a process, right?
He's fair. He details everything to you and to the tenant, and that's that. Now, one of the questions I have, right, is with the inspections, because one experience we've had is They come in, they do the inspection, the apartment is fine. Going through the door, they're like, oh, the door have the wrong lock.
Okay.
Payments stop like immediately. We change the lock the next day or the same night, then
Takes forever to
it
get
takes
it right.
forever. Now they stop the payments.
For them to reinstate payments.
And the inspectors
Usually it's
show up.
not that. Usually like they give you a certain time frame. I don't do the city. They usually give you a certain time frame, like 24, 48, 36 hours. The government is a mess. Like there's no way, there's nothing I can tell you about how municipalities are run like shit that is gonna help you.
After tracking them down, they did back pay, but that first month.
That's what happened.
After a while, we're like, it's not even
Just
worth
have
it.
to take the loss of that.
You have to stay on it. That's the thing, and that's why you want to underwrite the deals with proper management so that you can pay someone to do it or hire somebody to do it. You can't work off slim margin deals because there's a lot of that bullshit that happens. Or if you don't renew the lease in a timely manner and you miss, and then you have to be chasing them. A lot of what we do is chasing money. Anybody else? Sir.
Section 8 process last,
What does that mean?
from beginning to start to get a tenant in? How long is the process? Yeah.
It's not really a process. So basically you will list the property for rent on MLS or wherever. These tenants have vouchers, Section 8 vouchers. So they'll come to you and they say, listen, I love the apartment, I'll take it. I have a Section 8 voucher. Section 8 is going to pay 15 of the $22,000. I'm going to pay the difference. So all you have to do is sign up the lease and the paperwork with them, and then Section 8 is going to send out their own inspector to inspect the unit to make sure everything's cool, and then you're good. The only thing you need to know about Section 8 is if they don't currently have a place to live, you can get them in on the 15th. However, if they're living somewhere else and they have to move into your unit, you have to give the previous landlord 30 days so they can only move in on the 1st.
And I also wanted to mention there's city thefts. If anyone is a landlord in New York City, city thefts will pay the landlord 3 months rent in advance. And as a realtor, if anyone has an apartment they want to rent, the realtor gets paid a commission. So you actually don't have to pay the realtor's commission as well. So city thefts is a really good one. And there's 100 people that I'm currently helping find an apartment, and they're paying top dollar for
What is that, city what?
City thefts.
Thefts?
FHEPS. Yeah.
Anybody else? Sir?
Can we say no if somebody has a Section 8 and we advertise
Can you say
and
no?
we say we don't want to rent to the Section 8?
I mean, legally for fair housing, you're not allowed to discriminate against somebody because they have a Section 8 voucher. If you pull their credit, you see other things that you're not happy with and you ultimately want to rent to somebody else, nobody can force you to rent to somebody. You can rent to whoever you want, but you cannot discriminate based on a voucher. Miss?
Is Long Island the only place that you have Section 8 housing?
No, Section 8 housing is government programs. These programs are national. They're everywhere.
You own
Oh, me
property.
personally? Yes. The bulk of my portfolio is on Long Island. Sir?
How small can a bedroom be for Section 8?
So every Section 8 has different. Section 8 on Long Island is an 8 by 10, so it has to be 80 square feet plus a closet, and you're good. Depending on the size of the bedrooms is what the permit from the town allows you as far as occupancy goes. So you could have a 3-bedroom that, let's say, has 4 people. You could have a 3-bedroom that can allow up to 6 people, depending on the size. That's why you have to go to the landlord forum, so they're going to tell you exactly how it works. All right, I'm out.
Thank you.